Hi there and welcome back to the Dodgers port. As you can see, a slightly different port today. I thought because we were playing destroyers of different nationalities, I'd bring it to its home port of New York City, because this is the Tier 2 American destroyer, the Samson, complete with a speed boost, which we didn't have when we played the UK destroyer earlier this week on the Medea. Jumping into a battle very shortly, I just wanted to say before I do that, genuinely thank you very much to anybody that watches these videos, and if you comment on them and like them and subscribe, that really helps. That's the grovelling done. Let's quickly jump into a battle and see what the differences are between this and its UK equivalent. See you there. Here we are on the Islands map. I don't know why it isn't showing the enemy ships on the screen. It certainly did while I was playing, but apparently the replay doesn't want to do it, so fair enough. Islands map, 3 cap points. It's starting me as far north as I can be, which is not my preferred starting spot. I'd much rather be getting in the middle so that then I can jump off to A or C depending on what happens. Now, you get 3 speed boosts on this destroyer. I like to use mine to get into position early, the first one. I use the other 2 then later on if I need to get closer to a battleship and I want to close distances as quickly as possible, or if I really need to get out of dodge quickly. But I must admit, I have a penchant for using the first one for getting into position, because like most tactical games, getting into position early can make a really big difference. So my thought process here: head for A. If we can cap it, we can cap it. Probably not with 2 destroyers each side. I'd need to get a little bit lucky. And I can already see there's a destroyer over to my left, so capping's not going to be easy. Now, the Samson, apart from having the speed boost, it has real smoke, as in smoke that lasts quite a while. And also it has high explosives and armor piercing. So I pop some smoke and decide I'm going to get some free shots into this destroyer before I get within close enough range for him to spot me again, which he does there. But we've managed to knock the destroyer down quite heavily. What are we expecting now? We're expecting torpedoes. And there they are. So immediately get out of the way of that torpedo. Now, I talked about torpedo management in the last battle. Use as few as possible. So with this guy, we'll just put 1 set in the water. That is more than enough to deal. Oh, it's not more than enough to deal with him. Holy cow. One thing I realised whilst playing this ship in this battle, apart from the fact that there's an island in front of me, which I felt duty bound to run into just for meme value, is that its torpedoes are really not as powerful as I kept expecting. That's going to come back later and almost bite me in the bottom. So we've sunk the enemy destroyer. There's no other really juicy targets. There's a camouflaged ship heading away. Try and put a shot into him. Sadly, it was my forward gun that fired. My aft gun wasn't ready. I could have pinged him over the island with the aft gun. However, round this corner, I see a cruiser. And the one thing I will say about the torpedoes on this ship is they do rearm dashed quick. So, what we're going to do now is go around the corner and see if we can cause some torpedo problems for this cruiser, who's a very small distance away. Now, I've learnt a lesson already here, which is 1 set of torpedoes probably not enough. And if it wasn't enough to sink a destroyer, it's certainly not going to be enough to sink a cruiser. So we'll give him both barrels. At that kind of range, you're always onto a winner with torpedoes. It's unlikely ships of that speed are going to be able to avoid them. So, coming around an island is a tactic that people have employed on World of Warships for a very long time. Now, again, talking about what we said last time, I nowhere am I firing torpedoes directly at the battleship there when my own friendly battleship is also a likely hit for my torpedoes. So, I fire 2 sets of torpedoes off at the battleship, but giving it a long lead time. And I'm kind of expecting at some point just now to get the double boom as those torpedoes hit him. Spoiler alert, doesn't happen. He must have dodged. How dare a battleship actually dodge? What you will find at lower tiers is battleship drivers, and I'll be honest, even at higher tiers, tend to have a real habit of sailing in straight lines. Long may it continue when I'm in a destroyer. So at this stage we're just trying to set this guy on fire. It's not happening. No point staying in that cap circle. But we've got here a cruiser, a camouflage cruiser, not that camouflage does anything these days, but a camouflage cruiser who's on very low health. So let's see if we can cause him some problems. He's caused himself a real problem here because he's got himself stuck right up against his friendly battleship. Someone else sank him before I did. Boo. At this stage, I can tell you, even though you can't see it from the red team, we were a ship up. Now, there's a real risk involved in this next tactical decision. I either head back to B, where there's a whole world of pain going on down there, but I can definitely do some damage, or I take myself a little bit out of the battle and go and deal with this battleship up in the north. Now, we're ahead on ships. This battleship, I think, was on pretty much full health. I'd rather he didn't come back and make a nuisance of himself. And also, if I can't deal with a battleship and I'm in a destroyer, who can? So, what's the plan here? First of all, keep the island between me and him for as long as possible. Now, once we get to the point where we're around the island and he's spotted, we're then going to pop a speed boost. Because I want to, first of all, be close enough to make sure all my torpedoes hit him. And secondly, I want to get to be as close as possible, as quickly as possible, before his withering fire starts to really hurt me. So we'll give him the first 2 sets of torpedoes, which are probably going to hit him at range. But now, a lot of people will now turn and run. If I had smoke, maybe I'd do that, but I don't. So actually, the easiest way to protect myself is to run towards him. I'm giving him a very small target to aim at, just my front end, and I've got now all 8 torpedoes. So the idea here is these will sink him, and then I can turn around and I can, oh my god, they didn't sink him. Unbelievable. 8 torpedoes. So now what I'm going to have to do is try and sink him with shells. He's a battleship. You know, this could be a problem. So we'll see if we can hit his superstructure, and we're doing damage. My guess is he's popped a heel, and that's exactly what he should have done. But it's really annoying. Oh, and he's really hurting me. So we'll see if we can hit his superstructure. No, too low. Okay, I figure I might actually die here. So, if we're going to die, we're going to take him with us. So keep trying to fire and set him on fire, but no luck. Now you see, I'm turning away. I'm still giving him the smallest possible target to aim at. He's got secondaries flooding in at me as well. Now, are these torpedoes going to catch him up and sink him? Are they going to sink him? Yep. Well, we got the job done in the end, but not going to lie, a little bit lucky I think there. Can't believe he managed to eat 8 torpedoes and carry on sailing. Not something I expected, and something that certainly wouldn't have happened if we'd been using a real torpedo destroyer like a Russian or a Japanese. I think it proves the point that the American destroyers are not really designed for using torpedoes against heavy ships like battleships. Probably best to stick to using them as gunships and burning things down from a distance. But one thing it was really good at is use of smoke and speed. We use the speed to get into position early, which I always like. If you are in the good defensible position, you're going to get a lot more joy, as the enemy destroyer found out his cost. And the speed at closing in on an enemy battleship or an enemy cruiser so that you can get your torpedoes off before they manage to sink you, which is always ideal, is really, really useful. And that's the main 2 things that I use speed for on these, and also for getting out of a really bad situation when it happens. And you've seen me sail into islands enough to know that really bad situations do tend to happen. Now, I appreciate this battle was not a big all singing all dancing 10 ships sunk, wasn't even a Kraken, but it's not always about that. It's not even always about getting a victory. It's about improving and learning. And the more you play and the more you watch other people play, and I watch a lot of videos from other people playing over the years, the easier this game gets. Most important of all, I hope people enjoy watching the videos. If you do enjoy watching the videos, then please feel free to come back and watch some more, and bring a friend with you. Thanks very much for your time and your patience, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.